dose of nicotine that acts faster than a dose of heroin injected into a vein. Nicotine is a quick-acting drug, and levels in the bloodstream fall by about 50% 2 hours after extinguishing a cigarette. This is why most smokers average about 20 a day. As nicotine leaves the body, you experience an empty, insecure feeling, a tenseness or edginess, which I'll refer to as the itch. Smokers believe they only suffer withdrawal symptoms when they try to quit. On the contrary, they suffer them all their smoking lives. Just as we only know hunger for food as I want or need to eat, so we only know the itch as I want or need a cigarette. Most smokers can remember their first cigarette was foul. But by smoking that cigarette, you have now put a highly addictive drug into your body, and a disagreeable little character takes up residence inside you. Let's call it the little monster. This is the first of several factors that reduce a smoker's level of well-being throughout their lives. Here's a barometer showing your well-being. When you're having a great day, you're up here. When it's a terrible day, you're down here. Let's assume that when you smoke your very first cigarette, you're having a good day. Once you extinguish the cigarette, you start to experience the itch, an almost imperceptible, empty, insecure feeling, which smokers only know as I need something to do with my hands, or I want or need a cigarette. This is in fact nicotine withdrawal. It's the little monster inside your body demanding to be fed. And your well-being drops to a lower level. If you light another cigarette within that withdrawal period, the empty, insecure feeling is immediately replaced by a feeling of satisfaction and confidence. This is not an illusion. You will actually feel more relaxed or less stressed than you did a moment before, because you have now replaced the nicotine and fed the little monster. Your level of well-being will immediately go up. The second cigarette tastes just as foul as the first, and you'll remain convinced that you could never get hooked. But you've taken the bait. What you've actually enjoyed is trying to get back to the level of well-being you had as a non-smoker. This simple confidence trick is what hooks all smokers. You may have noticed that the smoker never quite reaches the level they were at before they started smoking. This is because nicotine is a powerful drug and a poison. Our bodies build an immunity to both. Immunity is a two-edged sword. It helps protect you from the poisonous effects, but it also means that the nicotine withdrawal is only partially relieved even when you smoke a cigarette. And the empty, insecure feeling is never completely removed. So even when you're smoking a cigarette, you actually feel more nervous and less relaxed than when you were a non-smoker. That's why, although your conscious brain knows that you should smoke less and less, the tendency is to smoke more and more. After you finish the cigarette, the level of nicotine in your body falls again, and the little monster soon demands another fix. And so it goes on and on and on. This process simply repeats itself. The only reason any smoker lights a cigarette is to feed that little monster and try to relieve the aggravation caused by the previous cigarette. It's like wearing tight shoes just to get the pleasure of taking them off. There are several reasons why smokers find it difficult to see it like this. Remember, the empty feeling is indistinguishable from hunger and normal stress and is almost imperceptible. There's no physical pain whatsoever. Our brain is therefore fooled into believing that the empty feeling is caused by the stresses of life, whereas in fact it's caused by the withdrawal from the previous cigarette. We only know the feeling as I want or need a cigarette. The moment we light up, we do immediately feel more relaxed, less stressed, and better able to concentrate. So the cigarette gets the credit for relieving the feeling, but not the blame for causing it in the first place. Another major factor which lowers the smoker's well-being is the disadvantages of smoking. Of course, smokers try to block these from their minds.
I could be hit by a bus tomorrow.
But would you deliberately step into its path?
I think exhaust fumes cause more damage than smoking.
But would you put your mouth over an exhaust pipe and deliberately inhale the fumes? As a smoker, you not only suffer the harmful effects of pollution, but also the much more harmful effects of smoking.
I can afford to smoke.
Well, good for you, but isn't it a bit stupid to set light to £50,000? After all, that's what the average British smoker spends on cigarettes in their lifetime. Possibly the worst aspect on the health side is not the risk of killer diseases like lung cancer. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not belittling those diseases. But all our smoking lives, we block them from our mind, promising ourselves we'll quit tomorrow. It's like a time bomb ticking away. We hope that it'll never happen, or that by some miracle we'll have quit before it does. But the moment we start smoking, we're not only congesting our lungs with tars and other poisons, we're also systematically and progressively gunging up our blood vessels. We're starving every muscle and organ in our body of oxygen and the vital minerals which we need to enjoy our lives to the full. Because this deterioration happens gradually, we aren't even aware of it. It's like growing old. It's not until we see a photograph taken 10 years earlier that we notice the difference. Provided you keep fit and healthy, this aging process need not adversely affect the quality of your life. But regularly poisoning your body does affect it. You become breathless, permanently lethargic, and wake up feeling tired even after a full night's sleep. And the vital parts of your body which are most affected by this poisoning and starvation are your heart, your brain, and your immune system. How can your brain concentrate properly if it's not only being distracted by withdrawal, but also starved of oxygen? Did you know that smoking coagulates your blood? How can you expect your heart to continue to pump increasingly coagulated blood through increasingly restricted blood vessels? The miracle is not that smokers have heart attacks and multiple bypass operations, but that our bodies can survive the poisoning at all. It says much for the incredible strength of the human body. If we treated our cars like our bodies, they'd be scrapped within a year. Yet amazingly, once you stop smoking, the body purges the vast bulk of accumulated filth and poison within just a few weeks. In addition to this physical deterioration, smoking destroys your self-confidence and self-respect. You realize you're not in control. Cigarettes are controlling you. You're not just smoking when you choose to. You've got to have them. And even the thought of not having them sends you into a panic. As your wheezing, coughing and lethargy increase, the cancer scares become dark shadows looming at the back of your mind, and you realize that you're a slave to the cigarette. This gradual physical and mental deterioration combined to reduce your level of well-being